Denise Williams has been sentenced. We're in February of 2019. She had been charged with 3 charges. Count 1 was conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, count 2 was first-degree murder, and count 3 was accessory after the fact to first-degree murder. She was found guilty of all 3 charges by the jury. However, because she was found guilty of first-degree murder, then the count 3, which was accessory after the fact, sort of helping somebody else after they committed the murder, was dismissed. She was sentenced on count 1. She was sentenced on count 1, conspiracy to commit murder, to 30 years in prison, 30, and she was sentenced on count 2, first-degree murder, to life in prison. Before she was sentenced, the court did hear first a motion to interview jurors that was filed by Denise Williams' attorneys. This had to do primarily with that issue that I discussed in the previous video, that the prosecutor made remarks several times during the closing argument about the conduct and behavior and reactions of Denise Williams while others testified. Basically, her lack of emotion or lack of any reactions while, for example, Brian Winchester was testifying about how he had murdered her husband. The motion for new trial included reference to an affidavit by one of the jurors who confirmed that jurors were discussing during deliberations Denise Williams' lack of emotion, which I guess the problem that I have with the argument from the prosecutor is that he, in a sense, by making that argument, he legitimized that being something that the jurors could have considered while deciding whether or not she was guilty. And like I said before, and I'll repeat it again, I've watched the entire trial. I think that the prosecutors did a great job in general, and they presented more than sufficient evidence to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. Nonetheless, I still think that the argument was improper. I have here the memorandum of law that was submitted in support of the motion to interview the jurors, and in it, right at the end, there is an affidavit of one of the jurors. You can take a look at it and read it yourself, and it describes the deliberations, or at least the what occurred during the deliberations with respect to jurors considering the demeanor of Denise Williams. The trial court, Judge Hankinson, denied that motion. He also denied the amended motion for new trial, and denied the renewed motion for judgment of acquittal. The case proceeded to sentencing. That sentencing took place. There was a victim impact statement by Cheryl Williams, the mother of the murder victim Mike Williams. It was a very emotional statement. It was interesting to watch it in the sense that the prosecutor was making comments about how Denise Williams reacted to the testimony of Brian Winchester, for example. And I understand, I guess when you're talking about a wife and somebody describing how they were killing somebody who at some point she must have loved, that's probably why they were commenting on her behavior, her reactions. The judge doesn't have any emotions involved in this particular case. He's not supposed to know anybody involved, or at least there's no evidence that he knew anybody involved. But it was interesting to see his reaction to Cheryl Williams' statement. At the very beginning, he wasn't even looking at her. As the statement became more emotional, he finally started looking at her as she spoke, and at the very end, the only thing he said was, "Thank you, ma'am." That's it. Then it came time to sentence Denise Williams. The judge simply read what the sentence was, asked a few questions of the lawyer, I guess asked whether she had any statement to make, and got from the lawyers that she wasn't going to make any sort of statement, and didn't make any commentary at all about what Cheryl Williams said or about what he thought about Denise Williams. Nothing. Just basically gave the sentence, and in the end finished with good luck to you, ma'am. That's it. So very unemotional, straightforward, and by the book reading of the sentence by the judge. Looking at the docket, there's something a little surprising. It looks like some guy from Virginia, his name is Leo Brandon Farnsworth, first sent a letter to the clerk and then filed himself. He's a total stranger to the case. He on his own filed from prison. He's in prison in Virginia, and filed in this case a motion for new trial, claiming that there was fraud in the court. He claims that back in 1996, Brian Winchester tried to hire him to kill Mike Williams. He claims that therefore it must be all a lie, that he had a conspiracy with Denise Williams later to kill Mike Williams. To me, first of all, even assuming that this guy is telling anything that is truthful, he's probably got the years wrong. I mean, 1996, I'm guessing this is about a year before when Brian Winchester said that he started the affair with Denise. The guy's testimony is consistent with some of what Brian was saying about the fact that they were initially thinking about hiring somebody and having him shot at his office at night. So in any case, I think the guy's either mistaken about the date or just somebody trying to gain some notoriety. I'm not sure where the guy is coming from with this whole thing, but I don't think it does anything on the case, and obviously I don't think it's going to affect in the long term the result of the case against Denise Williams. I did think that the motion for new trial, and in particular the motion to interview the jurors, was very well drafted, and there's a very good appellate argument. Again, I'm not trying to say that I think Denise Williams is not guilty. I do believe she was 100% guilty. I do believe there's a strong technical legal argument that the end result was unfair because of this improper argument. We shall see what the First District Court of Appeals is going to do with that. Now, regarding this guy Farnsworth, I don't have access to the full statement of Brian Winchester to the cops, upon which his agreement was based, by which they're not going to prosecute him using any of the evidence that he disclosed. I do remember hearing at the trial that there was a condition to that agreement, that he was not supposed to lie at all. That basically, if he's caught in any lie, then the agreement's gone. So the interesting thing to see is this guy Farnsworth is trying to help Denise Williams, obviously, but I wonder if he discloses perhaps something that Brian Winchester may not have shared with the cops, may have lied about. So it may open the door to undo the agreement by which he's not supposed to be prosecuted, and now everything can come in against him as well. And so maybe perhaps Mike Williams can get final and full justice against both of his killers after all. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to both of my channels. For tennis, it's Federer Tennis, and for the legal stuff, it's going to be on Mickey Holler Legal. I'm going to be posting on both for now some of my legal stuff, because I started putting all my legal stuff on Federer Tennis, and I'm trying to tell you guys, hey, switch to Mickey Holler, and eventually I'll keep it all on Mickey Holler, and I'll keep tennis with tennis and legal with legal. Thank you so much. Till next time.